Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. This is the results for Saturday night's main event last night, May the 24th, 2025. Let's get into it. The first match is the Heyman guys. I guess that's what they're calling them now. They didn't go with my idea of the new Dangerous Alliance. But the Heyman guys, Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Now, I thought this match would be, they wait a little while with this match. You know what I mean? Be a little bit further down the card. Maybe Chelsea Green and Selena Vega first, right? Or maybe, I don't know. Um, but no, I guess because the card was pretty stacked. We open up with Jesse the Body Ventura again returning with Joe Tessitore to introduce us. And Jesse is wearing his Jimi Hendrix shirt and his Malcolm X hat. And I love Jesse for this because I talked about the special place in my heart that the Malcolm X hat holds because of my grandfather giving it to me when I was very young and how that little kind of introduced me, in a sense, to Malcolm. And I love that he did this because imagine the level of resistance you have to go on a WWE broadcast. A company that is completely, not only just them, just the WWE, but the parent company of the WWE, TKO Group Holdings, is completely behind Donald Trump. They're completely behind the conservative agenda. And then to go on there and remind us of a leftist icon in an act of defiance, really wearing the Malcolm X hat, probably the epitome of the alternative and um, politically active left, and Malcolm wearing his paraphernalia and wearing his merchandise. I loved it. It really flies in the face of his classic Jesse, being the rebel of all rebels, if you will. So we open up with the first match, and like I said, I thought this match would be further down the card because they're really building the Heyman guys. Well, the results of this, uh, Punk and Zayn lost due to interference from Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, for the first time returning to the WWE since Survivor Series, he was aligned with the new Bloodline. You guys remember, and then he got injured in that match. So now he is aligned now with the Heyman guys. He's the third Heyman guy. So we have Braun Breaker, Bronson Steiner, and Bronson Reed in the same faction along with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Good job going on the Heyman guys. Now, Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green for the United States Women's Championship. This, to me, was a pretty good match, but I don't know, man. Are they making Zelina Vega seem like their version of Sasha Banks? I mean, Sasha Banks, obviously in AEW now, making a lot of headlines in the stuff she's doing in AEW, some good, some bad, but really dominating AEW, one of the top women performers that AEW has signed away from WWE. And now WWE trying to make their team version of Sasha Banks and Zelina Vega. Oh well. But she gets the win, and she's your new United States Women's Champion. Now we move on to R-Truth versus Cena. Now, as you guys recall, this match started the rivalry to this started at the end of Backlash. Um, Weeks leading up to Backlash, of course, when John Cena first turned heel, everybody was like, "Oh well, what's R-Truth gonna say?" Because R-Truth's whole gimmick is that he's mentally unstable, and that he believes that John Cena was his childhood wrestling hero. Now it makes no sense in real life, apart from kayfabe, because our truth, the real man, Ron Killings, is older than John Cena. But and they've actually had history together. Survivor Series 2011, they wrestled each other in a tag match. But that makes no difference to the character of our truth. Our truth believes that John Cena is his childhood idol, babyface John Cena. So when John Cena turned heel, people were like, "Oh, well, what's our truth going to do?" That was the first person we thought of. Kind of like when Hogan turned heel, the first person we thought of, well, what about the Booty Man? Well, how's he going to react? And we saw how Hogan reacted to the Booty Man, and John Cena reacted a similar way to our truth at the end of Backlash, despite our truth helping him defeat Randy Orton in Backlash. At the press conference, John Cena gives our truth the attitude adjustment, setting up the match between them at Saturday night's main event. And this was a pretty good match. Lots of back and forth action. John Cena goes to do his new signature, which is hitting people with the championship belt. R-Truth stops him, and then the commentators wonder to themselves, well, did John Cena have a change of heart? Maybe John Cena is going to be redeemed. Maybe John Cena is going to turn face again. Well, that doesn't happen, guys. He ultimately kicks R-Truth in the balls, and he hits him with the title belt. Now, R-Truth comes out as Ron Cena. The old classic Cena theme, the classic Cena poses, while John Cena comes out as the new heel Cena. So it's Ron Cena versus John Cena. Babyface Cena kind of facing himself, kind of looking into a mirror, like a black version of John Cena. I kind of like that he used the 5-knuckle shuffle. He used a lot of John Cena's moves. And the announcers even said, well, John Cena should know these moves because he himself did these moves. Now, the match was non-title. I thought, I knew, of course, R-Truth's not going to win the title. That's obvious. They weren't going to put the title on R-Truth because, again, he's a funny character. He's like a Santino Morella, like a Hornswoggle. He serves as the comic relief of the show. They're not going to put the belt on him. But at the same time, since it was non-title, they could have gave him the win. Why not? But they didn't. Now we move on to a feud that feels like it's been going on forever. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. This feud has been going on since WrestleMania 40, when Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank and finally beat Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. And he gives him a concerto. He knocks him out. He being Damian Priest. There's a cage match. And Jesse the Body Ventura is on commentary for this. And Jesse's commentary is kind of antiquated. I mean, it was funny, but it was kind of antiquated in a sense that he was pointing to a lot of psychology and in-ring storytelling that isn't really seen anymore, like questioning the veracity of the referee's count, going into the psychology of a cage match. He said that he was surprised NBC agreed to air a cage match, but he was himself in cage matches on Saturday night's main event. And Hulk Hogan was in a very famous cage match in 1989 against the Big Boss Man on Saturday night's main event. So I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, Priest knocks him out with a concerto. They do mention Edge, and that Edge is the originator of the concerto, which is odd because Edge is in AEW right now as Cope, right? But they mention him. And then Damian Priest walks out of the cage. Walks out. Now, Jesse Ventura is complaining. Jesse Ventura is like, oh, well, how can he walk out of the cage? He's a freaking coward. How can he walk out of the cage? He's a coward. But Plenty of people have walked out of cages. That's part of a cage match. The door is available to walk out in a cage match. I don't get what Jesse's talking about, but anyway, he thinks it's a cheap way to get out. He thinks that Damian Priest should have climbed the cage. I don't know. Judging by the announcer's reaction, including Jesse, I think this may have been a double turn. Priest may be turning heel, and Drew McIntyre may be turning babyface in the future. Um, okay, now we get to a backstage segment with John Cena comes face to face. The WWE champion John Cena coming face to face with the World Heavyweight Champion, main event Jey Uso. And Jey Uso says, he's basically mocking John Cena, and John Cena says, "How's it gonna feel when you lose to a YouTuber and I take the WWE Championship home with me? That's going to ruin wrestling, right? Because that's John Cena's MO, to ruin wrestling." For the fans and for everybody, right? So that's the confrontation. And you wonder, why are they doing this? Are they going to have Cena go up against Jey Uso and win both World Championships? We don't know. So Logan Paul and Jey Uso have the match. It's a pretty good match. The spot I loved is Logan Paul pulls out the middle turnbuckle, not the top turnbuckle, the middle turnbuckle. Remember, the rings are old school rings. So you have the padding turnbuckle, like from the late 80s and early 90s era of WWF. Right, the big padded turnbuckle. Logan Paul pulls it out. Eventually, that leads to Jey Uso going for a spear, missing, and then hitting it. And then Logan Paul hits him with the knockout punch. The right hand. Good morning, Lise. The right hand he's been using. And he goes for the 1-2-3. Then Jey Uso kicks out. Then Jey Uso goes for his move. He has Logan Paul beat. John Cena comes in, drags the referee out, pulls the referee out of the ring. Then John Cena and Logan Paul proceed to beat up Jey Uso. And who comes out to save Jey Uso? Cody Rhodes does a crossroads on John Cena, knocking John Cena out. Grabs the mic, telling John Cena, "I'm sorry your farewell tour had to cross over into Rhodes country. And since you have a partner in Logan Paul and I have a partner in main event Jey Uso, a brother in life," obviously they were former WWE Tag Team Champions with each other, I challenge you guys to a tag team match at Money in the Bank. So the match is set. Logan Paul and John Cena against Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank 2025, which is in 2 weeks. In LA. John Cena's last Money in the Bank. I kind of wish this was Punk. I know Cody Rhodes, okay, he lost the WWE Championship to John Cena at WrestleMania 41, right, guys? But this should have been Punk. This is John Cena's last Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and we know the history of John Cena and CM Punk at 2011's Money in the Bank. And after Cena turned heel, the night after Cena turned heel on Elimination Chamber, who was the first person to cut a promo on him? Even before the guy he turned on, Cody Rhodes. Who was that first person? It was CM Punk. CM Punk has unfinished business with both The Rock and John Cena, right? And he really doesn't like Logan Paul. So, and Logan Paul being a YouTube influencer and being in the wrestling business, right? So the guy that should have been in this tag match teaming with Jey Uso should have been CM Punk, not Cody Rhodes. Wait till SummerSlam to bring Cody Rhodes back. Returns of SummerSlam have always been epic. SummerSlam 2021, Brock Lesnar. SummerSlam 2020, Roman Reigns. SummerSlam 2024, Roman Reigns again as a babyface. Okay? Returns at SummerSlam have always been the shit. Even Undertaker, 1994, his return at SummerSlam. Keep Cody Rhodes off TV until SummerSlam. Bringing him back and putting him in this Money in the Bank match makes no sense to me. Like I said, it should have been Punk. Punk obviously should be moved out of this feud with the Heyman guys. This is getting nowhere. Okay, we know that he has beef with Heyman because he turned on him. But Heyman already, as is established in canon, Heyman already turned on him in 2013, so he knew Heyman's true colors. Bring him back to the feud with Cena. Have him and Cena go at each other at Money in the Bank 2025. That's what I would have done. But hey, that's not what they're doing. And if that's the angle they're going with, they used Saturday Night Main Event in the right way. Saturday Night's Main Event for or WWE was very similar to Clash of Champions for WCW as a way to build up to your next pay-per-view. And that's what they're doing. The problem is the next pay-per-view is only 2 weeks away, so they only have 2 weeks to build up for Money in the Bank, which I think John Cena will go over. John Cena and Logan Paul will go over because I'm hearing that Gunther may get another title shot against Jey Uso, and it will be a rematch between Gunther and Uso. And then eventually Seth Rollins and Uso at SummerSlam. That's the plan. So they're going to bring Jey Uso back into the feud with the Heyman guys. You know, he had the confrontation with the Heyman guys a couple weeks ago on Raw, and Punk came out to save him. And that's another reason. Punk came out to save Jey Uso. So why wasn't Punk his partner? Cody shouldn't have been his partner. Punk should have been his partner. Punk came out a couple weeks ago on Raw, saved him from the beatdown from the Heyman guys. Punk has that history with Cena. I don't know why they don't just intersect. Maybe they're getting a little bit closer to that, intersecting the storylines with John Cena and Logan Paul and Travis Scott and The Rock with the Heyman guys. I mean, just bring those two storylines together. It's not like you're doing one storyline on SmackDown and one storyline on Raw. You're doing them both really on Raw, really, and sometimes SmackDown. You're doing them on both shows. So I'm not sure where they're going, but they're using the Royal Rumble. Obviously, John Cena got eliminated by Jey Uso when he won the Royal Rumble this year, so they brought that up. They're bringing up a lot of stuff, but this match, like a lot of Logan Paul's matches, should garner a lot of attention at Money in the Bank 2025 with Cody coming back. And, yeah, guys, so the main event is set. And as far as the Money in the Bank matches, I already said who I think is going to win. I said Solo Sikoa, possibly for the men, and I said Charlotte Flair for the women, because obviously that's what they're angling towards, or Alexa Bliss. They might be angling towards a triple threat between Alexa, Charlotte, and Tiffany Stratton. But what I don't get about WWE is this. If you're going to have Charlotte go over anyway, and you're going to have Charlotte, be the women's champion, why not have her win at WrestleMania? It's just like with Lara Valkyria and Becky Lynch. defeating Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at WrestleMania. Okay, you had those two wrestle at WrestleMania, right? And you had those four wrestle at WrestleMania, and Becky and Lyra beat uh, the champions, and the Judgment Day tag team was on a good roll. They didn't need to lose the championships, only to have them lose them the next night back and then break them up to have the Becky and Lara feud. Stupid. But they're bringing back Women's Evolution this year, just like they had in 2018, which was the all women's pay per view. And I suspect that the reason is because they probably won't have the Women's Royal Rumble at the Royal Rumble 2026 because they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. So the Women's Royal Rumble for next year might be postponed. And big news on the front as far as the event after the Royal Rumble, which is WrestleMania 42. WrestleMania 42 has been moved. Obviously, like in December, The Rock came out like right before. It wasn't December. I don't think it was like right before Elimination Chamber. On the same night when The Rock cut that promo towards Cody Rhodes, where he was like, he wants Cody Rhodes' soul, and he offered him the chance, right, in Toronto to turn heel, join him. On that same SmackDown, he announced that WrestleMania was going to be in New Orleans. And they said for the second time, and I'm like confused. I'm like, this is this to be like the third time. Because you had WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, you had WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. Anybody having a WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans. But no, it was announced like 2 days ago that the location has been moved to Las Vegas. So they'll be returning back to Las Vegas where they were this year. Apparently they got site fees. What site fees are is like it's a paid show. It's just like WrestleMania 9 was, WrestleMania 4 was, WrestleMania 5 was. These paid shows that places like Atlantic City or Las Vegas pay to have the performers perform. And it's kind of like a residency. So they'll be doing that again. They'll be returning to Las Vegas. And since the association with the UFC and the buyout with TKO in 2023, they've become a lot more like UFC. The canvases look like UFC. The presentations look a lot like UFC. And the prices of things look a lot like UFC. So, and obviously we know UFC's home is Las Vegas, the T-Mobile Arena, right? They love to have events in Las Vegas. Apparently, WrestleMania 41 generated a lot of income, and the cities were bidding. And even though it was already determined that it was going to be New Orleans, they said, you know what? Let's move it. And plus, with the 4 prisoners escaping out of the jail in New Orleans jail, they couldn't help to booster it for New Orleans. So it's WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas again for 2026. Peace, guys. Thank you, Lisa, for contributing.